Clarity of purpose. Many people do not have clarity. Many people are so unsure about what they want to do with their lives. And if you're someone who is tired of being in that position, if you're someone who wants to get clarity, because for you to be able to make an impact, for you to be able to be successful in anything, you need to know what that thing is first of all. You need to have a clear mind about it. You need to have clarity on that thing that you want to delve into or start putting all your efforts into, so that you don't keep trying different things and coming out of it. So if you are tired of being unsure about how you want your life to go, if you're tired of not knowing how to even get started, then I have just got the right video for you. I am bringing back a video that was recorded 5+ years ago. Yes, and it was an interview I had with Kemi Ogunsanya, the Quintessential teacher. She shared lots of insight into clarity, how to get started, and I know that you would absolutely love this one. So sit back and enjoy the interview I had with Kemi Ogunsanya more than 5 years ago. Hey guys, we have an amazing person with us today, and she'll be sharing her journey to clarity. My name is Adeze Obasi, the team lead at Influencers Zone. Let me quickly tell you a bit about our speaker. Kemi Ogunsanya is a core literacy educator with over 7 years of teaching experience. She has taught across both public and private schools at primary and secondary levels during this period. In her current role, she serves primarily as a literacy educator facilitating grammar, creative writing, reading, and non-verbal reasoning lessons to key Stage 2 students. Kemi has her first degree in English education and her master's degree in educational planning and administration. She is the convener of the Pristine Project, an initiative aimed towards the advocacy of menstrual health and hygiene for females, as well as equipping girls in rural areas with entrepreneurial skills. She is also the convener of the Teachers Discourse series, a platform birthed to equip teachers with relevant skills necessary to upscale their impact. Kemi is both an avid reader and writer who has worked to proofread books, magazines, and also create content for business proposals and official documents. Over the years, she has served as a core volunteer across various social impact initiatives and has been instrumental towards the success of major developmental projects. Welcome, Miss Kemi. I'm so happy to have you here with us today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here today.
Okay. So can you please tell us about your family background? Any interesting thing about your childhood you want us to know?
Okay, my family background, a typical last born. I'm fourth child in 4 children. Yes, I grew up in a Christian family. I'm born and bred in Lagos, even though my secondary school was out of Lagos for a while. Yeah. And then childhood memories, what do I remember? I think as a child, I love to write a lot. I love to write stories. I love to tell stories. I'll literally force anyone around me to just sit down to listen to my stories. I can remember like forcing my mom, I'll just make up stories and then I'll continue and tell them, oh, this is part 1, this is part 2, this is part 3. And the stories will just never, never end. Yeah, so I love that as a child. I love to talk. I love to defend people around me as a child. Like I didn't want anyone to be mistreated. And so I used to be like a huge talker as a child.
All right. So for me, while growing up, I wanted to be an accountant. In fact, it changed one time. I wanted to be a pilot. I had different things I wanted to be while growing up. So what was it for you? What was that thing you wanted to be while growing up as a child?
Okay, so because I used to talk a lot, the natural thing for everyone around me was to think, oh, you'll make a great lawyer.
Exactly.
And so it was sinking deep into me as a child, and I felt, oh yes, I'm going to do this. And then I kept on with the ambition till I got to a particular point.
Okay, so what was your course of choice when you applied in Unilag?
So it was law.
Okay.
So I tried 2 times, and then it was the second time I got my admission. So the first time it was law I put in for. I didn't get my admission. The second time again, I still put in for law.
Okay.
I didn't get the admission, so I tried to change my course, and then I changed to English language. But when the list came out, my name popped up on the list for English education.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's how my journey started.
All right. Okay, so tell us, Miss Kemi, how did you come about the phrase the quintessential teacher? I know it did not happen overnight. So how did you get here?
Okay, so I think I'd just like to talk on my journey into teaching. I mean,
Okay.
just like I've said earlier, I didn't plan to study education, but that was where I got. And then, just like you hold an onion bulb and then you try to peel it, and then, different sides of the onion
Yeah.
keeps unfolding. That's what happened to me, into education. Like, you give someone a plate of food, so a person has never eaten that food before, and then the person says, I don't know how this will taste, but let me just take one spoon. The person takes one spoon, takes another, and then the person wants more. So that's what happened to me. I mean, I was served a plate of food I didn't want for any reason, which was education. And then I started, I went deeper into it, and then I loved it, and then I was still able to pursue it for my second degree. So, I mean, how did I get here? Yes. When I decided I wanted to pursue education, I wanted to be a teacher. There were lots of uncertainties that flooded my mind. I mean, there were different kinds of teachers I had seen around me. There were teachers that were doing well. There were teachers that weren't doing so well. And so I asked myself, okay, will teaching give me the kind of future I want for myself? I know I want to be successful. I want to be, financially independent to a good extent. And then I thought about it. And then I asked myself 4 cardinal questions that became the pillar for everything I am doing right now.
Okay.
I mean, so I asked myself, first of all, what's my personal motivation for teaching? What's the compelling vision for me as a teacher? Am I just going into the classroom because I want to get my salary? Or is there more to it? And I answered that question. I knew that for me, it was about impact, going into the classroom, each child at a time, making a relevant impact to each person. The second question I asked myself was that what personal development strategies must I put in place as a teacher? Okay, I knew I wanted to develop myself. I knew I had to be attending certain training sessions. I knew I had to be exposed to a lot of knowledge as a teacher. I also asked myself what physical and psychosocial features do I want in my work environment. So I was deliberate about where I wanted to work as a teacher. I knew what I wanted, and then I went after it. I mean, putting out applications into specific organizations that will afford me what I wanted. A platform to develop myself, expose me to trainings, provide me resources, for my students. So how did the tag name the quintessential teacher come about? Yes. I started out as a teacher, and then, regularly I'll put out updates on my social media platforms on different experiences I was having in my classroom. For me, it was just fun. I was just having fun while at it. But then it was gathering a lot of attention, and then many people will come to me and say, oh, I love what you're doing with teaching. How did you get here? Can you give me this information? Can you mentor me? I started getting lots of those requests just from, the little fun I was having on social media. And then I realized that there was a need for me to brand myself. Kemi Ogunsanya is somewhat different from the quintessential teacher. Kemi Ogunsanya is just a random lady, everyone might know around. But the quintessential teacher gives me, establishing that brand gives me some form of authority as a teacher. So, that's how I got here. Yes, so external validation played a key role in the quintessential teacher brand.
Okay, so at what point were you able to define yourself and know that, okay, I want to really delve into teaching? At what point? Was it when you were still an undergraduate or after you were done with school? At what point did that really happen?
Okay, so it was after I was done with school. I was trying to explore different opportunities, different career choices. And then I felt like, okay, why don't I just explore what I actually studied in school? And then that's how the journey started.
All right. So how did you realize that teaching was in line with your purpose?
Okay. Even while in school, even while in Unilag for my first degree, I used to have a lot of friends come around me to tell me to explain things to them, to tell me to, tutor them, just teach them different concepts we were learning in class. And then I would just do it playfully, just jokingly. And then I was getting a lot of positive feedback on it. Sometimes they would tell me, oh, Kemi, you'll make a great teacher and all that. But it wasn't in my thought at that time. So I'll just wave it aside like, teacher, no, like it's not something I wanted to do. But for me, as I continued, I started enjoying the process.
Wow.
That's it for me. Like every step of the way, it's been an enjoyable journey, and I keep looking forward to more. And that's how I knew that this is my purpose, this is what I want to pursue.
All right. So one very important factor on this purpose journey is clarity, and a lot of people unfortunately do not have that. So how did you how did it become so clear to you? What were the things you saw? What were the factors that were visible to you that made you realize that yes, this is it. I'm in line with my purpose. Are they there should be certain things you saw that would let you know that indeed I'm on the right track. So what were those
Definitely,
things?
definitely. So, in my opinion, clarity is a journey. Clarity isn't something that anyone fully achieves at a particular point. It's something you get once, you keep moving in the right direction, and then more clarity keeps coming. So, how did I get my clarity? How did I know that, teaching was what I really wanted to do? For me, it came from a lot of validations. That's the truth. It came from a sense of fulfillment. I mean, a sense of making tremendous impact every day within my classroom. I mean, I see the results of what I'm doing with my students, even beyond my classroom. Students I work with, teenagers I work with. There's just this fulfillment I have,
Derived from
doing it. So that's where my clarity comes from.
All right. So, peradventure, there are people that have not gained clarity, just like you have. What would you tell them to watch out for when on that journey?
Okay, so first of all, to achieve clarity, one needs critical introspection. You have to be able to sit down for yourself, take out time to reflect. And in today's world, in the midst of the different noise and everything going on around us, sometimes it's difficult to just sit back and actually assess yourself. To achieve clarity, it's important to ask yourself certain questions. What am I doing well? What am I not doing well? What am I good at? What do I want to achieve? I mean, for every aspect of one's life, you have to be clear on what you want to achieve. What do I want to achieve in my relationship? What do I want to achieve in my marriage? What do I want to achieve with my friends? Like, you need to ask yourself questions. That's the truth. So for everyone still struggling to gain some measure of clarity, the key is sitting down to ask yourself relevant questions and assessing what you've been able to achieve on your own.
All right. So, guys, ask yourselves questions, and all of these questions, if you are able to give a profound answer to them, it would help you ensure and help you know if you're on the right track. Okay. So we keep hearing people emphasize on the fact that clarity is so important. It is highly important for every young person, in fact for every individual, to have clarity of purpose. So the multi-million-dollar question: why do you think clarity is highly important? Why do you think it's hyped the way it is?
Okay, so clarity makes a person's journey faster and easier. That's the truth. Once you're clear about your purpose, it makes you focus on the goals you want to achieve. And being focused on the goals, moves you faster than just a random person that isn't clear what the person wants to achieve. Clarity helps you erase doubt. Sometimes there's an inner critic inside us as humans, that inner thing speaking to you and saying, can I do this? Should I do this? And all that. But once you're clear on your purpose, you won't give room to that, to any form of criticism, whether from yourself or even from others around you. And then clarity also helps to bring self-fulfillment. It helps you to feel content with what you're doing. You don't try to compare yourself with others around you or try to feel lesser than yourself. Clarity, in regardless of what you're doing, once there's clarity, you'll be satisfied, you'll be content with yourself.
I really agree with what you said, because a lot of people get influenced, peer pressure all around. They see their friend on this particular path and they're excelling at it, and it makes them want to waver and move towards that direction. Okay, this is cool, I can try this. But once someone has clarity, it makes you stick to that journey that you are on, and I think that is really nice. Thank you so much for shedding light on that. So I have a friend that confided in me a couple of weeks ago about this same clarity issue. He was on a path, and it got to a point he wasn't so sure that was what he was supposed to do anymore. And I want to know, what will your take be for that particular person, because the person was on that journey and he put in a lot of effort, time and money into that path, and it ended up becoming not what it was for him. So what will your advice be to that person, because I'm sure he's watching this?
All right, so my first advice to that person will be not to feel distraught, not to feel bad, or not to feel just terrible at himself. On in our journey in life, no
Yes.
experience the wasted experience, regardless of what it is. So you must be able to channel out, what are my lessons from this experience, even from the seeming negative occurrences.
Right.
There's always something to learn. There's always something to hold on to. And so before he goes into the future, before he goes into the next season or next phase, he has to be able to assess where he's coming from.
Right.
Look at those experiences, find out what he has done right, what he hasn't done, well, and then it can help him prepare himself for the next phase. So now it's time for him to ask the critical question of what he really wants to do, what will give him fulfillment, what will give him satisfaction, what are his strengths, what are his potentials, what are his capabilities. And I'm sure if you can answer those questions, he will get on the right path.
All right. Okay. So we hear a lot of reputable people tell us stories of how they started, and they did not really start in a very palatable way. They started things very roughly. I mean, we know of our former president Jonathan, how he tells us story. He had no sandals, so people always have that story that they tell, and most times it's not always a smooth ride. So, is it that when you want to attain clarity of purpose, you must always have all of those hiccups and hurdles along the way, or can it just happen and it just becomes a smooth ride? Must it be something chaotic at times?
All right, so to each person lies your own unique path. Everyone won't have it the same way. So some people will have more challenges than others. However, the truth is, on the journey to clarity, there's some form of effort that needs to be exerted. It's not going to be an extremely smooth ride, because you need to go beyond the normal. You need to push yourself, and with pushing yourself comes, a bit of strain on you. And so, on the journey to clarity, there will definitely be some form of challenges. It might not be like our ex-president's own, where he didn't have sandals and all that, but there will definitely be some challenges. Once you're striving to achieve goals, it doesn't come easy most of the time. So there will definitely be challenges along the way.
All right, thank you so much. So I want you to shed more light on this. Does having clarity of purpose guarantee fulfillment? Like when you are clear on that path you want to take, does it automatically mean you get there?
Okay, so that's a big no.
Yes, okay, you can hear no.
Clarity alone doesn't guarantee any form of success and fulfillment. With clarity comes action. And so once you're clear on your purpose, once you're clear on what you want to achieve, but you refuse to take action, then that means nothing can be achieved. So once clarity comes, you must take action. You must set your set your goals to align with your purpose. So I feel that clarity alone doesn't guarantee anyone any form of success.
It must be backed up with action.
Yes, deliberate action.
Deliberate action. All right, thank you so much. So there's this question also that a lot of people have been asking, and it is regarding NGO and being able to build your finances as well. I mean, NGO, non-profit organization, they are non-governmental organization. You don't make profits from them, and in a case where a person's purpose is in line with having an NGO and it's not going to bring money to you the way you expect it will, how does that person tend to balance between that and also getting to pay his bills, getting to have financial stability?
Okay, so I feel that there must always be an intersection at some point, an intersection of you pursuing purpose and then your financial independence. And so you mustn't sacrifice one for the other. Okay. Yes, you want to you want to go after your purpose, but in a case where you're running an organization that is not for profit, you also have to be able to have another stream of income, something else that is a form of support or boost to your general cash flow.
All right. Okay. So let's just round up with this. How or what will your advice be to somebody that has no idea what his purpose or clarity is, has no idea whatsoever? He doesn't even know if he's on the wrong path. In fact, this person has not realized he's on the wrong path. He doesn't have any idea whatsoever. So what will your advice be to that person? And also, what other things would you love to share with us regarding the journey to clarity?
Okay, on the journey to achieving clarity, self-awareness is key. Knowing who you are, knowing what your potential is, knowing what your capabilities are. And so for a person that is still lost, in being unclear with what he or she wants to achieve. The truth is, there's a need to ask yourself critical questions, just like I've mentioned earlier. Analyze yourself. And if you can't do it by yourself, maybe there are people around you could leverage on, just to tell you their feedback about you, what they think you can do, what they think you can achieve. It could be a foundation for you towards knowing more about yourself. So my final words on this is that self-awareness is critical to achieving clarity.
So guys, self-awareness is critical. It is of utmost importance. You need to know and realize what you love to do, and it will help you when you're on that journey. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Adeze.